This is my hometown, and living in Worcester keeps me grounded. Around here, people call me Tim, and that's fine with me, because I've been called a whole lot worse lately by our Republican opponents in this campaign. Let's see. I've been called an attack dog, a pit bull, the governor's caddy, his coat holder, but I think what has offended me the most is being called a butler. A butler. Who has a butler these days other than perhaps an overcompensated health insurance executive? Seriously, I'm glad we're back in Worcester because what we started 4 years ago has changed Massachusetts. When we left this hall in the summer of 2006, you fanned out all across the state and you got to work. You knew that Massachusetts could do better, and you believed that the values of the Democratic Party are the foundation of this Commonwealth. Now, 4 years later, here we are, back in Worcester. And I say we've made great progress, but our job is not done, and our work must continue. From this moment until Election Day, we have to speak up and make our voices heard from Pittsfield to Provincetown to promote the ideals of equality, opportunity, and dignity that define us as Democrats and that have helped Massachusetts weather the worst economic crisis in our generation. Growing up in Worcester, I learned firsthand about hard work and sacrifice and about looking out for your friends and neighbors. My mother was a nurse, my father a high school teacher. Both worked second jobs to make ends meet and raise 5 children. Today, my wife Tammy and I work long hours to give our 2 daughters the kind of future that they deserve. It's all about generational responsibility, making sure we leave things better off than we found them, and that we don't turn our back on people in need who need our help. That's what a Democrat means to me, and that's why I'm proud to be a Democrat. Look around this hall. We come from many different places and stages of life, yet we are all united by common goals. Our diversity is our strength, and it's the issues that really matter in this campaign. Because on November 2nd, the voters of Massachusetts will hold all of the candidates accountable for what they said and what they did. And I'm energized to talk about our record because it's a record to be proud of. But I don't think the Republican candidate for governor is so comfortable with the idea of being held accountable for his record. Already in this campaign, you have seen a pattern emerging. Charlie Baker, the Secretary of Administration and Finance under 2 Republican governors, he was in charge of the state budget when the big dig costs began spiraling out of control. But when you ask him about the big dig's fiscal shell games and mismanagement, Charlie Baker says, "Not my fault." When the roads and bridges we see are crumbling because the big dig siphoned off billions of dollars from transportation projects across Massachusetts, Charlie Baker says, "Not my fault." Charlie Baker was the CEO of Harvard Pilgrim Insurance Company for nearly 10 years. But when you ask him why his company jacked up premiums by 150%, killing jobs while tripling his own salary, Charlie Baker says, "Not my fault." And when the Republican Governors Association hit Massachusetts this spring with slash and burn negative ads that poison our politics, what did Charlie Baker say? "Not my fault." Sorry, Charlie. I've got news for you. The people have had enough of your excuses. They don't want a governor who points fingers and passes the buck. Think about it. If Charlie Baker doesn't have the backbone to stand up to Haley Barbour and the Republican governors, then how will he stand up and fight for the people of Massachusetts? How will he stand up to the health insurance companies? He won't. How will he stand up to the entrenched interests who seek to block a clean energy jobs future for Massachusetts? He won't. How will he stand up to those who want to decimate safety net programs that protect children, seniors, veterans, and the forgotten? He won't. He can't, because he's on their side. Deval, Patrick, and I are on your side. Leadership is about being honest with people, taking responsibility, and doing the right thing. That's what Governor Patrick and I strive to do every day. When we were elected, we never expected to be governing in the worst economic crisis in America since the Great Depression. But that's what we faced, and we didn't pass the buck. We directed state and federal recovery funds to help keep people housed, to retrain those who lost their jobs, to prevent school districts and municipalities from making devastating cuts. We've kept teachers in the classrooms, police on the beat, firefighters on the job, and in doing so, we've held the fabric of our communities together. And that's what's at stake in this election, the very fabric of our communities and the future for our children. This is no time to turn back to the failed policies of past administrations. Through good times and tough times, I've worked side by side with Governor Patrick, and I know that he is the leader that we need to keep the Commonwealth moving forward. Now after nearly 4 years in the spotlight, you may think you know everything you need to know about Deval Patrick. But let me tell you a story about the governor that you probably haven't heard before. Many of you know and have been to the State House. It's not just another government building. Tourists from all over the world and school children from all across Massachusetts come to the State House every day to learn about our shared history as both a state and nation. Keeping that building clean and welcoming takes a lot of work. So last December, Governor Patrick and I hosted a holiday reception for the cleaning and maintenance staff to say thank you to them for the work that they do. At that reception, I watched the governor. Now, maybe some governors would have come in and made a few brief remarks, shook some hands, and then left. But not Deval Patrick. He stayed. He listened to people. He answered questions, and he took advice. He talked to everyone who wanted his ear, and he connected with people and their families one-on-one. I tell you this story because I think it shows who Deval Patrick really is. He's a man who believes in his heart that every individual is a vital part of our Commonwealth. He believes that Massachusetts is a place that can transform lives because it transformed his. And he believes that state government should help build up our society, not tear it down and divide it. Towards the end of that reception, my daughters, Rui and Kati, who are 5 and 4 years old, had their picture taken with the governor. When we got the picture back a few weeks later, the governor had signed it. To Rui and Kati, with high hopes for the future. High hopes. To me, that said it all, because I know the governor's wishes for my children are sincere. What I also know is that his high hopes extend to every child in Massachusetts. And what's more important, Deval Patrick doesn't just hope that good things will happen. He works for them. He fights for them. He stands up for the people of Massachusetts. And that's why I'm so proud to serve with him and stand shoulder to shoulder with him in this fight, and I know that you are too. There's too much at stake in this election for any one of us to sit on the sidelines. What we do and what we say when we leave here today will shape the future of Massachusetts. So let's ask ourselves, what kind of Commonwealth do we want for our children and our grandchildren? What kind of Commonwealth do we want them to live in? For me, that answer draws from our history, and it defines our future. I want Massachusetts to be a place of uncommon natural beauty. I want Massachusetts to be a place where education and opportunity are paths open to all who seek it. A place where people from all walks of life are united in overarching faith and tolerance and respect. That future is within our reach if we are willing to work for it. So once again, I ask for your support and for the honor to serve as your Lieutenant Governor, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you in the campaign ahead to make sure that Massachusetts is the place we want it to be. Thank you.